shall go down, we shall be found. We shall go down, we shall be found. We shall go down, we shall be found. We shall go down, we shall be found.
Hello everyone, my name's Ashley Beedle and here we are at North Street Fireworks, the home of such illustrious groups as the Africans on Mars, my solo work, which I do with Darren Morris here as well, and also I've been involved in Express 2, Black Science Orchestra, the Ballistic Brothers, also the Mavis album project, which I did with Darren as well, and probably too many more to mention at this moment. So we're just going to take you through a track by a band called Simonde, who were around in the 70s of, I think they were British Caribbean or Jamaican parentage, or sorry, Jamaican origin, but they recorded in Britain. And we did a track of theirs called 4 Baby O for an album which we did called Message in the Music, which was an album of edits. Bit of a science in what we did as well. So what we're going to do, we're going to take you through this track on how we constructed the edit. Just for the record, really, we had to work with this on 2 tracks. Is that stereo?
Yep.
Yep. Stereo. Because we didn't have the original multi-tracks to work with, unfortunately. But, you know, we had fun doing it.
So really what we started doing was we would listen to the intro and think, that needs to be longer.
Yeah, that's usually where we start.
I'm going to solo it so we can just hear that.
We had to touch the reverbs as well, didn't we?
Exactly. You can see here we've just, I've cut them as a bar, butted them together. A few little crossfades because you don't want any little
glitches
and
yeah.
glitches. But that would be very dull, wouldn't it? So what we've often done is use sends on a channel, which is kind of like old school mixing, really. You know, so bus 1 would be going to a reverb, and this knob controlling the reverb would often get a controller like this machine here and have this controlling the amount of reverb, so you can just sit through it.
We were using a keyboard on that, weren't we?
Oh yes, we had a fader on the keyboard, which can do the same thing. Obviously anything that sends MIDI, you can make it do the reverb. Make it do the reverb. So if I just get the automation up of reverb, you just see the little peaks and troughs there. That, okay, I'll let it go. Next section.
So this takes it. That's like this section here was basically because it felt natural. I think this track, didn't it, to take it into sort of just the straight up conga. This is with your extra conga. It's a very Rasta thing actually on this track because from what I understand anyway, Simonde had Rastafarian beliefs anyway. So there's a lot of the conga used Nyabingi. That's it. The Nyabingi drums we used in this track. So it's lovely to extend them anyway. It's got a real trancey feel, which I think Darren can explain. It just led us on really. I think Darren came up with a suggestion of this. Rather than keeping this track as it was and just editing it on its own, we decided to add some more music to it.
So obviously that's where the vocal comes in. So that intro has been extended quite considerably. Underneath, because that intro felt, although we were doing stuff with the reverbs, a few little delays as well on send number 2, it still felt like we needed to give it a little bit more. So out came the egg shaker, and I've got a couple of nice little valve mics just here, and we just simply recorded our own percussion,
Yeah.
and that really helped. So we've just got the egg shaker coming on underneath that. Let's just hear that, because you wasn't hearing that just now. Let's hear it all together. Just gives it a little bit more.
Also, it gives the track, for us anyway, more of a live feel. I know it sounds weird to interact with the 2-track WAV, if you like. Do you know what I mean?
And also, importantly, we work quite fast, so we're sort of reacting to it as we're hearing it as well.
Yeah.
We haven't been sat there going around it all day, so it's kind of as if you're in the room with them.
Yeah. Okay, can we stop there?
Yeah.
Now, just coming in before their main vocal is my vocal, which is a tiny yeah, which all it was literally is where I was just jamming with the track I think I was on the egg shaker, maybe, not quite sure. Was it you, Darren?
I think I might have been on the egg
You might have been egg shaker, but it's just me enjoying myself basically, and we just recorded it, and we thought we'd keep that.
Yeah.
And we do work organically like that, where we do found sounds is the best description, isn't it, really?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Anything that happens to be there.
It happens to be that sometimes can get used, do you know what I mean?
Okay.
So that we use that just before the main vocal comes in.
And the volume of it is quite subtle. It does. I mean, when I'm
volume-
mixing, I try to make it all sound like it's in the same room,
in the same
session.
Exactly. So it's almost like we're with the guys in the band. That's
Yeah.
the vibe we wanted to get, really.
Again, the way that was recorded would have been going through the same mic as the egg shaker.
As the egg shaker.
And the egg shaker goes through the valve mic. It's quite a cheap valve mic, but it's lovely. Everything goes through this. It's the TL audio. It's like a stereo valve processor. 3 valve stages in there, and I've had it years, and I've used it for everything. I stick everything through it, and I boot everything back out and back round again. But it's great for EQing on the way, so taking all the rumble out the mic, or just doing some extreme EQing just for a laugh. And we've even done takes where we're just sweeping the EQs, because it has its own way of doing that. But making it scream a little bit is great for vocals sometimes, or whatever you seem to be calling at the time. But yes, your shout, I think you were just sitting in, and it went through.
So we thought, well, we'll keep that.
So Ashley's shout and the egg shaker, for instance, I mean, I chose that microphone because the valve mics, they have a lovely warmth to them. They don't, in other words, they're not very toppy.
No.
I've found with the condensers, they're quite loud and they're quite good for picking up small sounds. But every time I put percussion or even vocals through them, it just sounds too harsh. So I'm always chopping off the shelving down the top end if I'm using a condenser. But the valve seems to have a built-in fluffy top end. It's not very toppy, and that seems to work really well with older recordings. And again, I might even go further and dull the top end down even further, and it seems to push it back into the back of the mix a little bit more. Again, it's got a reverb on. The dry signal I've backed off, so it actually goes further back, and you have more of the reverb. So your shout really is coming from the back of the room.
Back of the room, yeah. The vocal, is that
Yeah,
right?
it goes into the main
vocal section, which is up on the 2-track WAV, which is here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've left that running for a little bit.
Yeah.
I often colour code things just for both of our benefit, really, so we can see.
Yeah, because, well, you know, I think I have got the, what's it called again? What's it called? Synths, whatever it's called. But there's definitely an element of that here, because when I work with Darren on any track, for me to kind of feel the vibe of the track, I say, right, could you colour it in for us? And he'll go, what colour do you want, Ash? And I'll go, can I have a red, please? So it's very much like that, yeah.
It's quite nice. If we're doing, we might be mixing an old reggae track, and the colours will definitely be coming in.
Yeah, coming in, yeah, absolutely.
like that. But yeah, colours definitely help. It helps you work faster, and you can just remember sections by colour sometimes.
Yeah, and it's good because, you know, if I turn around to Darren and say, oh, could you just replonk the dark green further up on the arrangement there?
Yeah.
And he'll just go, all right, do them.
If he said the second verse, do that again. I'd be like, oh, where
What's
is
he talking
it?
about? Yeah.
Right, okay, so the vocal comes in.
Broke the bread of dawn for I, and man shall live as one till time. Are we still in sin as that man came? Will you stand and watch I man slain? Who will show where the I man came? Who?
So here we have
Bass.
a bit of bass coming in. Also some more automation. Again, that was done from a knob or a slider on the keyboard all the way through, but in a nice way, kind of not being too over the top, but we're used to.
It's really interesting. It's really interesting because what we're trying to do is not only are we trying to do an edit, we're also trying to, if you like, do a brand new production, I suppose.
Yeah.
On the track anyway, you know, for what space we had, because this was great working with this track because there was so much space, you know. Other tracks we work with, it's not a lot to go around really.
It's great when there's lots of space.
Yeah.
Also, that seems to make sense now, doesn't there? There's quite even a lot of stuff from Radio 1. You got your mad blocky sort of ravey stuff, but in between there's quite sort of space is being used quite well now, you know, and there is a feeling of like stripping things right back.
Right back.
I remember that James Blake album. It's like, whew.
I know it's a Coldplay track
Massive
actually called
size.
Magic, I think, which is absolutely brilliant.
Right.
Really clever, very stripped, not a lot going on, apart from Chris being unhappy because his missus has dumped him.
Okay, back to the track.
Yeah.
So the bass comes in, and this was just a decision really that we took. Again, to have another level to the track, it sounds like a bass player needs to be there.
Yeah.
So I got my Fender jazz bass out.
You just did it in one take, didn't you?
Yeah,
And then we
just kind
edited
of-
it afterwards.
I
based
might
on
have
the
chopped
bass.
out sections where we needed to mute
Yeah.
it, which I guess in the past might have been a desk mute, but
Yeah.
we've just actually taken it away. Again, visually it's nice to get rid of any mutes so that the arranger is clean. So again, the bass is just there to step up the
Who
level.
will show where the I man came? Who will?
Quite a lot of hum on this.
Nice though.
That's the bass again going through here, beefed up a little bit. Also, I find sometimes that having too much low end on the bass,
It's bad for the cut, isn't it?
it's just bad for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you got to make a decision sometimes about what do you want in the bass end. Do you want a bass instrument, or do you want something more percussive like a kick drum? So we decided that we'd have the bottom end covered by just a low subby kick drum, and the bass has been rolled off about 86 hertz there, so that most of the bass is coming through as a kind of low mids.
It's always more melodic as well, isn't it? It's feel,
Yeah.
I think, for the
Yes,
bass.
it's
Do you know
not
what I mean?
to sort of like
Yeah.
push
You know,
you.
we wait for the sound system dances to do that. Do you know what I mean?
Will you stand and watch I man slain? Who will show where the I man came?
Just called it there where you can hear a bit of
Delay.
which is Logic's own delay, the tape delay one, which I love really. I love more than just a digital style, because it takes a lot off the bottom and of the top, and as it delays it kind of gets smaller and smaller and smaller, which I really like. It's kind of what tape does every time it goes around. I'll zoom in, and again it's just a little whip of the knob controller there, and let's have a look. That's bus number 2, which is, oh yes. So I'll go to the mixer. I use screenshots of Logic. Number 1, just the arranger. Number 2, you can have as the mixer. In fact, if you drag the mixer tab, you just have that there.
Yeah.
Get rid of the one behind it and get that up. So now you've just got a full mixer there, number 2, arranged on number 1. Okay, so we were looking at tape delay, which is this one here. So I've got an EQ here, which is it's already taking off quite a lot of the bass, taking off some of the top end, muffling it, which is again what I was talking about, those valve mics. It's almost mimicking that. I would like to have a tape delay, but they're ever so expensive. Again, you have to do a little bit jiggery pokery. I like to take off some of the top end, some of the bottom end, and then you can really stick the feedback up. As soon as it goes over 50%, it really starts to chug over a little bit and feedback. I find if it goes up too high, it'll go on and on and on and on,
yeah.
Which is quite interesting if you automate it with a knob, and you can really start to get distortion and then back it off. Again, it's because it's a send, it's totally wet, no dry signal at all. So it's just simply adding to the channel that's sending to it. I'll leave that up, and let's just put this alongside it. This is a plugin called Tremolo, and it simply just moves the delay from left to right, which is a nice little effect. So nothing, you haven't got it confusing the centre. You can actually hear it wafting side to side, and the vocal's still dead centre, which is a nice sort of clear thing.
So the drone's starting to come in very soon.
Yeah, drones are the yellow ones, aren't they?
Yeah.
Let's have a look at those. Oh yeah, it's here.
Yeah, I think as I was saying off camera before, me and Darren had a discussion, and we were saying about how a lot of the cosmiche, if you like, takes its influences from dub, I think, you know. And it was quite interesting when we were actually making the track. I think you actually made the suggestion of saying, let's put a drone in there. So we said, okay, why not?
And that often means coming completely out of the box again and looking at instruments we might have laying around. A lot of the old synthesizers are monophonic, aren't they? So I have one sitting over there which will show you. This is just a Roland SH3. It's monophonic, and so in order to get a nice spacey drone, we'll often do a few takes and
stack them
up, pan them about, and that way you get a really natural stereo sound. You might be doing the same sort of thing, the same sort of movements, but it won't be exactly the same each time. So the stereo image is very nice, rather than trying to mimic it with, you know, a chorus plugin or something like that.
It looks like we used 2 different drones on this anyway.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, got drone 1 and drone 2, and they've both been panned hard left and right.
That's all for now. Please check out the latest issue of Computer Music to see the rest of this video.
Download over 30 exclusive plugins. Get hundreds of pro-quality samples and power up your production skills with in-depth tutorials. We break it down for you step by step, and you'll see exactly how it's done in expert video guides and producer masterclass sessions with pro producers. Get all this and more with Computer Music Magazine every month on iPad and iPhone, PC and Mac, Android, and in print.